Welcome to Reality NSFW's coverage of Survivor 42, Episode 3. This is the Deep Dive podcast where we'll be talking literally anything and everything from the episode. I am your host, Alex Rubino, joined by my co-host, Dan Montchal. And our special guest today is from Season 41. She is one of the most confident players you'll ever meet. She's the only person I can say that has made the merge and not made the merge. Is the one and only Sydney. Sydney, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Let's just start. What are your overall thoughts on the season so far?
So I was like, I was a little like BC, the whole like shindig. But honestly, like as I've watched it more, I think it's fucking hysterical. I think this cast is absolutely hysterical. I was thinking about it after this third episode because like I haven't watched on Wednesday since I got eliminated. So like, oh my God, I'm coming on the show. I actually have to like make a point of watching this goddamn episode. And I was like, wow, they're so much better at challenges than 41 because obviously I'm comparing everything to 41. I was like, my season was fucking pathetic. So I actually really like this season. I think there's like great personalities. I like how everything is different. Like they chose Brain when we chose Braun for like that water bucket challenge. Like 2 people risking the vote. Like that never happened in my season. So I love the juxtaposition that it kind of just had by chance.
All right. So what else have you been up to since you played and we last saw you on our screens?
Oh my gosh. Like literally 2021 was like the most psychotic year of my literal life. Like,
oh, I wonder why.
Like I just like Survivor was just like part of it. It was like, okay, I leave for Survivor, I come back, bam, 3 weeks later I get knee surgery. Right? Like I went on the show with a torn ACL and torn meniscus, and I was like, okay, shit, like because we went home early, I had this time to like get my knee fixed. So like that fucking sucked. But like a kind of life-changing endeavor happened right after a life-changing endeavor. So then it's like, okay, cute. All right, fast forward a little bit. I'm working, which is like, if for people that don't know me, like that's not my thing, right? I don't like to work, but I was like literally working like Monday to Friday, crazy over the summer, interning. Had a good job, really liked it. Working at the courthouse, started a nonprofit because I'm like such a fucking philanthropist now. Okay, so that happened. Fast forward, I get fucking COVID, right, on my birthday. And as evidenced by my screen, Queen Sydney, of course, that's like the worst thing ever. I texted all my friends, do not wish me a happy birthday because nothing can make this birthday happy. It's ruined. Like, it's ruined. There's nothing. And I'm an optimist, but I'm like, this is it. Okay, fast forward. Then I turned 26. I'm like, oh my God, my ovaries are shriveling. Break up with my boyfriend. Long-term relationship. I was like, no. If I don't know, that's an answer. Next. Okay, fast forward. Then I'm in Europe. We're only in August at this point. Go to Europe. Have fun in Europe. Great. Go back to school. Start school. 2 weeks later, I'm in Turks and Caicos. Come back 6 days later. Go back to Europe. Okay, come back 2 days later. Survivor premiere. It's nuts, right? So then it's like, okay, Survivor premiere. I'm like living my life. Great. It's fun. Mexico. Then I hit Mexico. I was like, all right, fuck it. I've been in the States for way too long. It's been like 3 days. Time to dip. Okay, fast forward. Then I'm back in California. Psych, go to Guatemala before California. I was just like literally jumping like a maniac. Then I go on a bender. I became like a little hoe for a little bit. And now I'm like back to being like a God-fearing woman.
Well, I can say the both of us fear you right now.
oh, I was just in El Salvador.
Oh.
I know, but that was like, I wasn't like going crazy, believe it or not.
So of everything that you did, what stands out to you the most? What was the best experience
of 2021?
Yeah.
The best? I mean, like obviously I have to say Survivor because it was like
you don't have to.
I do. I mean, there was like a lot of like impactful things. Like Survivor was definitely like, I don't want to say the most life-changing necessarily, but probably the most like everlasting, like you go on a great trip and it's like the memories stick with you forever. But like Survivor just kind of has this like permanent impact that you kind of take away. And I think some people really, really dive into it and others don't. I would say I'm kind of someone who doesn't as much, but even though I'm not leaning into it as much as like say Ricard, for example, like you know, it's still cool to like come on these podcasts. You still get a couple cameos here and there. It's like you're still recognized, or it's like someone will reach out to you for XYZ, or it's like the memories, the friendships, like something is like everlasting. Like Voce's moving to New York. That motherfucker's my roommate, whether he likes it or not. You know, it's like that has to be probably the most impactful. That or like on knee surgery. Like, oh my God.
So you said in that whole tangent that you like left early since you were on the pre-jury. Did they not like take you on a pre-jury trip?
Because of COVID, no. So like
they sent you home.
Right, but we weren't allowed to like obviously like make it known that we were home. So after I got eliminated, it was doctors and everyone was very concerned about my well-being considering my exit confessional. And they were like, oh my God, now we have to like, God, tell this girl that like we're going home, right? Like she's not well. And they're like saying we gotta tell you something. And I was like, okay, like what? Okay, hourglass, you're back. And I was like, they're like, you're going home. And I was like, get me the fuck off this goddamn island. I was like, I never want, like when I said I didn't want to see anyone's face again, I fucking meant it. So I was like, get me off. I'm done. Like I'm going. It was the greatest gift like ever. So it's like getting eliminated when I did on a personal note, as much as it would have been great to like see it through to the end and have a millie. I gotta have the surgery. Like I gotta go home. Like I made it as far as I could make it and like still like, you know, like go home, like get those 2 weeks. And it like that really set me up for like the rest of my year. Like I wouldn't have been able to like do all the cool things I did like had I not gotten the surgery when I got it.
So
just, wow.
With because you didn't have that pre-jury trip, did you still, you know, were you with the everyone else that was voted out before you at all, like spend any time with them, or was it pretty much back right away?
It was kind of crazy because like when I got to Ponderosa, nobody was there. So everyone was like, oh my God, like I feel so bad. No one was there to greet you. But like, it's not like I've ever gotten eliminated before. Like I didn't know any different. I didn't care, right? I just like ate and chilled. So I spent about like 30 hours with everybody, more or less. But then when we got back to the States, it's nice because no one actually lives in California, but everyone has like roots in California. So like I happen to be there all summer. Sarah lives literally like, here's Coldwater Canyon. I'm like Beverly Hills. She's Sherman Oaks, like 12 minutes away. Like literally I'm on the canyon. She's on the canyon. So it's like, we spent the entire summer together. So that was super nice. Boche's from the Inland Empire. So he was in California. Jeannie went to my high school. So like she was in California. So we ended up spending quite a bit of time together. Deshaun, when he came back from California. So I saw him when he had come back. But on Fiji, I didn't spend that much time with everybody. Like, but when we were together, obviously, like we didn't have phones or anything. So it's like you bond quickly. So I ended up spending like Thanksgiving with Brad and his family after only having spent 30 hours with him, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was awesome. But no bonding.
What's interesting, though, it seems like your group, your whole cast got along rather well compared to most of them. Would you say, how was that for you, though? Like, was that your experience?
Oh, no. Are you crazy?
I'm just saying what people, like other cast members have said.
Oh, that's cute.
I know you're a little different, so let's hear it from you.
Okay, so I remember like there were a lot of like factions in the cast, and everyone was like, God, like I know past seasons have these like full cast group chats, and like we're just not that. Also because we weren't all together at one point, so I'm actually the only player to have met everybody on the island, right? Because like I made the merge, but I was pre-jury, so I knew everyone. I had some sort of relationship, positive or negative, with everyone. That was not the case. We did not get along. There was drama up the wazoo. There was so much drama. So eventually, I remember like we did like a impromptu type finale, and I was like, gonna go, I want to go. Then I was gonna go, and Danny's like, I'm gonna add you to the chat. I'm like, Danny, do not add me to the chat unless I confirm that I am going. No, absolutely not. I just don't want to like listen to these fuckers. And he's like, I'm gonna add you to the chat. Then there's a Luba chat I'm not a part of. No, thank you. 2 weeks was enough. I'm still not a part of it. But so then there was a cast chat with everybody. I removed myself. And then I was like, all right, really petty. Like I need to let it go. So now there is a group chat, and I think like the waters have settled enough that it's like I don't think anyone holds anything personally anymore. So now there's like good kumbaya.
Nice.
But that being said, I don't talk to everyone.
That's fair. And
Yeah.
I know one of my questions was going to be, because we didn't get to see a whole lot of you and your tribe really working. There was kind of, because you kept winning, there'd be a nugget of, oh, you know, we're thinking of targeting this person, or 2 episodes later it would change. So from your perspective, what was really happening on your tribe? Like what would have happened had you gone to a tribal prior to the merge?
You know, it's tough because like we were, as much as like we weren't, like we were scrambling at the beginning. Like, you know, you always have to have your options, and it's like you never know what's going to happen. So like we were still talking strategy, and it wasn't until like we realized it's just like we're not going to lose a challenge that like the water started settling a little bit. Like I remember some of the best advice that I had gotten before I went on was like, stay around camp. Like stay around camp. Like that's where all the gossip happens, right? You don't want to be like out too long looking for coconuts or spearfishing or whatever, because like that's where all the conversations happen. So I didn't spearfish until I was like, dude, we're not losing. Like we're just not losing. And like I said before, like my season is like shit at challenges. So you put me and Danny on the same fucking try, and of course we're gonna fucking dominate everything. And that's exactly what happened. But had we gone to tribal, like me, Danny, and Deshawn were like a very tight unit. And what was happening, at least on my season, was the men were getting eliminated. So Danny and Deshawn were like very afraid of an all-female alliance. And for me, the only people that I trusted were Danny and Deshawn at that point. I hadn't met anyone. I like briefly met Tiffany, who I really wanted to work with, but like we did not trust each other at that point. Fucking the women on my tribe, we did not get along whatsoever. So I was like, fuck am I working? Fuck that. I'm not working with the chicks, right? JD was like one of the only people. JD and Xander were like, we want to like get to know Sydney. She's like young. She's a runner. They're both young and runners. So I'm like, the only people that have expressed interest in working with me are the men, right? The only people I dislike are the women. I was like, count me like I'm a dude, right? Like today I identify as male. Therefore I am male. Okay. So I was like, it would have been like Heather, Erica. So I was in on the whole like throw the challenge thing, but like
Nasir wasn't.
I couldn't do it. No, he wasn't. Ugh, whatever. But like, no, it was only me, Danny, and Deshawn. We're like, if we do this, it's got to stay close in the family. But I was like, I'm sitting out.
All right, so it's pretty clear you wouldn't have voted for Erica to win had you been on that jury.
Well, you know, I think about it, and how I would have voted, which is not what I like as a fan, but like now that I'm a player, is whoever didn't fuck with me, I would have voted for. Who played the better game? No, fuck you. Whoever I liked more.
So it would have been Deshawn probably.
Point, it would have probably been Deshawn, but like Deshawn or Xander, but Deshawn, Xander asterisk, because if they fucked with me, I wouldn't have voted for them. If me and E had a big turnaround and we became like BFFs, and like Xander and Deshawn were trying to like fuck me over, like I would have voted for E. But at that point, with my mentality at that point, it would have been Deshawn.
Okay. All right. Are you guys both good to start talking about what we just saw with 42? Because I really want to hear your thoughts on a lot of it.
Sure.
First, I think I need to make a public apology. If anyone watched or listened to our last podcast, anything that I said about Daniel in that episode, I take back 100%. I was dead wrong. I was not expecting what was going to happen this episode. So I apologize, and I take it all back. Huh? I was high on him. I was like, I like what he's doing here. He's, got some ideas that I thought were going to work out. I thought he was in a really good position, and then he just wouldn't stop losing stuff and or talking. And
I'm looking back at our ratings. You had Daniel rated higher than anybody on the cast.
I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
I do. It's okay. I do. And I have all the notes. But, what started this tribal? Honestly, let's go backwards, because what was this tribal? What did you both think of this entire vote? Chanel losing her vote, Mike not having a vote. What do you all think of that? Because I just had a blast with it personally.
I mean, I think this tribal is a good metaphor for like what survivors become, and like that's for better or worse. Like I don't think Jenny did anything wrong. I think she was in a nice spot strategically. I think she was a smart player. I think she had good relationships. It was just like all the twists in the game coming together. And it's not like before where it's like, okay, like let's take into account an idol, you know? And it's like that was really like strategic. Like the first time votes were split and like when you keep it a secret. But this was just like it's new Survivor. And it's like it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Like she did not do anything wrong.
I mean, I feel like Jenny's biggest mistake was having dumb allies. That's really, I feel like, what it comes down.
But was it like
a little bit?
What's the firefighter's name?
Mike.
Yeah, like Mike. That's a great ally.
I think Mike was a good ally, but I think the fact that they had Daniel in there is what screwed them. Is because as soon as you start off by saying, I desperately don't want to go to Rox, it just gave Hai all the leverage in the world to be like, well, I'm not changing my vote.
Yeah, but I would have done what Daniel did. I really would have. Like, I think it took so much balls for Hai to literally risk going to Rox. Like, truly, I would have been like, fuck it, as long as I'm not going to fucking Rox. So it's like, I don't think that it was really Jenny's detriment as much as like Hai just really had the balls that nobody else had. I don't think anyone did anything wrong. I don't even think Daniel did anything wrong.
I mean, I say like Jenny had good allies in terms of like having Mike, someone who really, really trusts her. But I mean, like, dumb in the sense of not having any power. It's like, oh, well, Mike has no vote, and Mike's been losing everything. And Daniel, literally, who's losing stuff, who just can't shut up, and then Chanel, who is like literally said, I can't risk my vote. Risks her vote, loses it, and then because of that, Jenny's gone. Like all those things caused Jenny to call himself. I'm Jenny. I'm just bitter at my turn. Like, really, where are my allies? I had a 4-2 advantage, and honestly, pretty close to 5-1, and I go home.
Yeah, that's the new Survivor. It's like, skill, whatever. Because even if you bring it back to my elimination, people are like the haters. When I like read like one comment, it's like, well, no, Sydney wasn't totally fucked because she could have made like better relationships, which is fair. But the way I saw Survivor adapting to was more voting block. So I didn't want to be steadfast in one alliance. I wanted to be mobile throughout alliances, which is what I was. But that wasn't conducive for like what Survivor had become at that moment. So it's like, no, that was actually part of my strategy to not be like signed, sealed, and delivered with anyone. And that was to my detriment.
And I can always say, like, I think there's always something a player can do. Like, whether I could say a player's screwed to varying degrees, and I think Jenny's one of them. You're one of them for sure. But I always say, there's a little bit a player could do. But don't get me started on the hourglass twist, because people can look at last season how much I hated that twist, and it took every bit of restraint in me to not just come on a podcast and rant about it after everyone did, although I did a little bit. And I think we're getting it back again this season. So once that comes, oh boy. Dan, just beware. Beware if that comes back.
I'll just go on mute and take a break.
You'll just good. Just let me go for a couple minutes. But I mean, I feel bad for Jenny. I could say it. Jenny got screwed. Really, just like you're doing everything right. You're making good relationships. I don't know. It's like I'm with you in that. Like I was excited by the tribal, but I'm also like, why all these things?
Why all these things? It was just like a why all these things. Yeah. And like sometimes it felt like they're making up the rules as they go, because it's like now with all these twists, it's like I remember someone asking, it's like, well, if you can't vote, but I have a steal a vote or an extra vote, then can I use one of those? And I don't even remember the answer, because it was like, oh, you could use one but not the other.
We were told it was
so. Like if you had an extra vote, but you weren't allowed to vote because you had that beware advantage, you can't use your extra vote either.
Yeah, but you can steal a vote.
I don't think you can. But
I think you could do one, but like I don't even know. Like
you played and you don't know.
Yeah,
How are we supposed to know?
Exactly, and that's why sometimes it feels like it's being made up as it goes, because it's like we're thinking of every possible situation, obviously.
I would so be the person Jeff hates out there, because I'm consistently asking him questions of, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And he's like, stop. I didn't think of this. Stop asking. No, Jeff, I'm going to keep going. I need every bit of info I can to make a decision. But I mean, the votes themselves were interesting. 2-2, 1-1, fine. The discussion, and I think Dan, you mentioned Daniel starting out saying, "I don't want to go to Rocks." It's so interesting because in some ways it gives High all that leverage, but in other ways I feel like it's straight making Daniel look a little more honest in that moment of like, you know what, I need to protect my own game. I'm not going to be. I don't care that much about who goes home.
Yeah, and that would have been one thing, but then as soon as he turned it around by just saying, well, I thought I was just doing exactly what Chanel wanted, as if she wasn't sitting right there and trying to deflect all the blame. It was just every time when it went to that discussion where he opened his mouth, it was just, oh no, like, just
well, I don't know. I
there.
gotta defend him a little bit because
Go for it.
they asked Chanel a million times, like, who would you have voted for? Right. And that was kind of like a big, it was like kind of the missing piece, I feel like. And she deflected it very well. And because she wasn't answering that question, everybody was just looking at Dan. So had she had answered the question, then like this, I want to give Chanel props, obviously, because like that's a great move. But I'm almost just like everyone else, you're so fucking dumb. Like make her answer the goddamn question. Like she never answered the fucking question. And that would have like really either backed up Dan's story or you know, like I don't even want to say backed up his story, but it like would have shed a lot of light on the situation.
Okay.
Which Dan was getting all the shit for.
That's fair. I think Daniel's first mistake was not. You could say it's not saying you don't want to go to Rocks. That's like a decent mistake. But right after he says that High asked him, "Why'd I lose your trust in it?" And Daniel's like, "You didn't. Chanel. I thought Chanel wanted Lydia, so I did that. And Chanel, if you want Jenny, just let me know. I'm voting for you, voting on your behalf." And it's like, Daniel, you can't play that game. You're not that type of player who's that passive and can't make up your own mind. Like everything that we've seen of him, and I imagine the players have seen of him, is someone that's strategic and decisive and making decisions on his own. Yeah, Chanel's pushing vote Lydia, vote Lydia, vote Lydia, but I don't know. This was his first mistake, in my opinion.
He's like the complete opposite of Mike, where Mike just started like, I take everything at face value. You know, we make that first plan and I'm all for it. And he's almost just like the exact opposite.
Yeah. All right. I did love the moment where Daniel's like, Jeff, you want to know why I'm going to lose season 42?
No, but it's true, honestly.
He's right. That was the only thing he got right the whole evening.
Fair.
He was dead on the money.
I don't think it was that, like, I know he got a lot of, like, flack from what I've heard. I just don't even think it was that crazy. I just think, like, it was one of those things where if you take out all the fluff, right, because he was just talking and running his fucking mouth, did he really do anything that crazy? No. Yeah. Like, nobody wanted to go to Rocks. So it's like, sure, he gave High the leverage, but he was just kind of, like, word vomiting. A lot of, like, nothingness, but was it that bad?
No, it wasn't that bad. I'm, like, think I'm in the middle of the both of you in this instance. I think it was a little bit bad because if your goal there is to get Lydia out after all that you've done, kind of sticking your neck out there, and then he's kind of caving, but he wasn't. Like he was like almost doing a half measure of, I'm gonna cave, but I kind of want to make Chanel look bad. But I think honestly, it's gonna make him look worse when they get back to camp, because I'm like, Mike is probably pissed at him. Chanel is probably like, Daniel, you lied to me. You lied about me, straight up. Everything you said was a lie. And I really think, even though it's true, I think Chanel's a much better liar than Daniel is. And I think she can spin it in a way that's just going to get him.
Oh, 100%. I mean, 100%.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the other things that didn't help him was at the very end, he's going to High and he's going to Lydia. He's like, no, we're good, right? Like, promise me or whatever. But like, of course, whether they want to or not, they're going to lie in that situation because they want to have their outcome. So yeah, no, Daniel, like, we're good. Don't worry about it.
I didn't even hate that moment because at that point, you're like admitting defeat. You need like a little bit of public assurance, even if it means nothing. It's like, hey, you said we were good. Like, I don't know. I would take anything at that point. I'm just like, yeah. At that point, I'm like, I dug my hole so deep. Let me just try to get out a little bit. And I don't blame him for that per se.
I don't either.
I know. I wish we saw more of Jenny, honestly.
Yeah.
I think her and Lydia to an extent, but especially Jenny, were just quiet. I'm like, why? Why are you being quiet? Your lives are on the line. fight a little bit. Jenny's one line that we saw was, "Oh, you're fracturing this tribe." Okay.
Yeah, no,
This tribe is fractured no matter what.
Yeah, she just never seemed like she was a big speaker, which seems kind of weird, being on a show like this. And maybe there was stuff that we didn't see, but you would have thought that you'd see more fight. Be like, hi, no, like, come on, like, we're all right.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like this show really caters to a lot of personality types. So it's like I think everyone's a good orator, but like some people are much more subdued in general. Like if they had a bunch of Sydneys, like that would just be pandemonium.
That'd be a great season.
It would be an amazing season.
Oh my god, it would be fun. But actually, let me call out Chanel a little bit because I didn't love Chanel's game here. I liked part of what she did in this discussion, but I think she came off a little bit too dodgy with like. I think it was so obvious she was dodging that question. I'm mad at the other players for not like really saying Chanel just answer it, but I think you can say like they go back to him. It's like Chanel, why weren't you answering these questions? Like why weren't?
Well, you could tell that there was something off because as soon as pre-tribal, where she got that whole, her whole speech of, I'm so good, like I don't even need a vote to control where this goes, and immediately cuts to High being like, yeah, she's acting weird, something's off. Like,
yeah,
I think she has a lot of things going right, but it's like there's maybe some small reads here or there that's just not quite right.
To me, it seems like she's one of those players who knows what to do so well, like is one of the most strategic people. But the minute she gets a little nervous or a little paranoid, is not that good at hiding it, and is like, "Here's what needs to happen." Like telling them, "All right, here's how we need to make this a 2-1-1," basically. Which great idea, just a bad execution. And I think it's like when she's cool, calm, elected, amazing player. I think that with that tribal, her getting a little frazzled because obviously her life is on the line. It just seemed like, all right, let me throw everything against the wall. And I don't know, got a little too cute.
About like to shed some light, when she did come back from her hike, the amount of time that she probably had, if I were to like compare it to my season, between coming back and going to tribal is like nothing. And the amount of scrambling that happens before is like wild. So you come back to just like bam, 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 all the scrambling. And then it's like, she doesn't know where everything is, like, or what's happening. She could theoretically be going home. She's like, going to be like, this is what we got to do.
Yeah. And I'm amazed. And I think I give her a lot of the credit for it. How the hell is her name not even being brought up? She's gone the entire afternoon, like you said. And let's not get rid of her. The only way she could have gone home was if they go to Rocks, which they almost did. But still, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that she like did not have her name brought up at all, and the rest of the tribe was like waiting for her to come back. All right, let's bring her back so she can make the decision for us.
Right, because it's not like if with challenges, for example, like Jenny's obviously like very smart and half it's about puzzles, and like Lydia had won the challenge for them like the episode prior, so it's not like the rationale was like challenge strength, which I think Chanel is strong. So yeah, that is an interesting point.
I am amazed none of the guys even had their names thrown out. And frankly, Daniel's not playing a great game, and neither is Mike. And I love Mike, but like, I would be just like, let's get rid of Mike. Mike doesn't have a vote. If I'm not Jenny, I would think about it. From everybody else, I'm like, maybe get rid of Mike.
Yeah, but it is nice to have like the brawn, especially when you're going against the Jack dude. I don't even know his name.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost be at a point of we're not beating him anyway.
Right. I'd love to go head to head with him. I'd be like, I'd carry that fucking ladder.
I was going to say, we saw you in the water last season. That seemed better than everyone else besides, well, maybe we need to see the head-to-head between you two, but you look better in the water than everyone else that was out there.
Oh my God,
yeah. I like can't believe how like most people couldn't even fucking swim. I could not fucking believe it. Like I told JD, I remember I was like, dude, were you drowning in that one challenge? And he like had to leave because he was so upset I said that. But I'm like, it looked like a very controlled drown. So I'm like, I love the water, obviously, but I would love to go head to head with John.
Yeah. But all right. How would Sydney, if you were Daniel in this instance, how would you have played it? How would you have been? What would your attitude have been in that discussion if you were really focused on, say, getting your way, or would you have not cared and just said,
I
"Let me
wouldn't
avoid
have
that"?
cared.
You're
Which
like,
is probably like not great and like not a great answer, but like I probably wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, I'm just not going to
but I also think then if you don't care, just say that right away. I don't care. Hi, whatever you want, you pick. Let's just do it.
I think it has to be like a little more of a discussion, just because like you can't like really show it all, because it's like there's layers to it, right? Because it's like, all right, I'm gonna go with what I want, but like I need to do damage control with like Mike, for example. So it's like, oh my god, and like you have to fight for it, but it's like, and then my thought would be like, Mike, like that was like not what I wanted, but like I really needed to do the risk rewards. And like at the end of the day, it's like I still feel like me and you are really strong, right? And it's like I would not want to jeopardize. I would have said something like, Mike, you were my number one and Jenny was my number two. I wouldn't have risked getting my number one out to keep number two. So it's like, I'm not going to go to Rox and put you at risk. And, you know, and it would be something like damage control-y, but I would probably say to, like, all right, hi, like, let's be frank. Like, where are you at? I think like, it's like, I think that this is why Lydia should go out. And he's like, there's no way I'm changing it. And I'm like, there's literally no way. Okay. There's no way. Fine.
Yeah. I might say maybe do that thing of, all right, like hi, you want Jenny out next? You want Jenny out tonight? Fine. We'll get her out tonight. You get Lydia next. And that way maybe you can get the other four people working together on a common enemy, and then you're also giving them what they want. It's like, all right, just don't.
But like he's of course gonna say yes and then go back.
Of course you say yes, but at least putting that out there maybe gives you a little bit of staying power.
Right.
Because I'd be worried more not about doing damage control right there. I'd be worried about getting back to camp.
Yeah.
Because like obviously you want to still be in the game, but you still want to be in the game with being in a decent position, because the tribe's not the strongest tribe in the world. They're likely to go back to tribal. Right. And I don't want to be in a position where it's all right, I survived this, I'm gone next.
Right.
But I also think I'd rather be trying to make up and repair a relationship with Mike than I would High.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think you can do that much easier.
Right. I'm very, very much with you there. Although I think because he had a bigger relationship since Daniel had a better relationship with Mike, I think that makes more sense. But I also think Mike is a little bit more of a hothead.
Right.
And is going to be a little bit more mad that you betrayed him.
Side note, I was a vegan before Survivor. I was eating fucking chicken. I was eating fucking fish. And I didn't feel bad about it. And also, hi, you can eat coconuts for 26 days and be fine. Sorry, next. That little crab leg isn't the difference between life and death on the fucking island, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably why they had High, have that scene and maybe didn't give it to you.
Probably.
It's not what they were looking for on a family show.
Yeah, I mean it's always. I remember Shan was a vegan last season. They showed that. Maybe we didn't. They didn't show you being a vegan, but
I mean, I didn't even make it clear because I was like, I'm just gonna eat all the meat. And like during quarantine, I was like eating the meat. They're like, do you have dietary restrictions? I'm like, it's called gain weight. That's it.
Oh yeah. The only other moment I really liked from Tribal is when it's 1-1 and then High just is looking so confused. Jeff's like, what's wrong? And he's like, where are the votes? And then Jeff's like, no, let me get to that. Like, don't interrupt me. It's like, but I'm confused. What's going on?
He was so over it. Like, Tribal's late and like you're tired and you're just like, bro, what the I just want to go the fuck home. Like, I remember when I found the beware advantage, I was like, dude, sneak off camp. I was like, I'm fucking tired. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, slept on the boat. I was sleeping everywhere. I was like, any chance I had to like snooze, I was snoozing. Like, you was probably like, bro, I'm tired.
Fair enough, especially with the Tribal like that, how long it's going, I can imagine. But what else stood out to you from like this Tribal actually?
From the Tribal itself?
Yeah.
I think it's nice this season how it's not like a live Tribal. I found that in my season it was very
stand up and move and like.
Yeah, and it's like it's interesting like once a season, but it was like so much that it's just like I think the viewers and then also like the cast members like really like can we just like sit and blindside and like just have shit happen and like everyone feel confident and someone look like an idiot, you know? It's like, so I do like that about this. And then like this tribal also, I remember I was watching the episode while sitting on the stationary bike and like I was super fucking bored. And I was like, God, I really hope, like, we're already at tribal. That means I have like 20 more minutes on the bike, but only like 10 more minutes of the episode. But it's like I had 15 minutes. So it's like this tribal was like clearly like very exciting. And I thought it was. I think it was like, as a fan, I think it was awesome. But I think as someone who played, I'm like all frustration. I'm like, this isn't Survivor. This is absurd. But I mean, it's fun to watch, which I guess is the point. So I hope CBS doesn't hear this. Just kidding.
You think CBS is listening to a podcast hosted by Johnny Fairplay?
Honestly, maybe. I feel like they have their ears and eyes everywhere.
You know what? If CBS is listening to this, call me.
So your only tribal was a live tribal. What goes through your head when everyone starts standing up and, you know, walking around whispering in someone's ear? Like, what was that like from your perspective?
Okay, like, I know it sounds crazy. I was like really tired. I'm like, dude, like I don't want to get up. I was like so tired. Like I was like, oh my God. But for me, like in that situation, I think it was kind of anomalous in the sense where I've like watched enough of the show to realize like I was just gonna be collateral. And I was like, it's very easy for me like to suss out what's going on. Where it's like who like Evie had like the potential of an idol getting played, and like Nasir had his idol, and then like the last people left were me, Danny, and Deshawn, and like Danny and Deshawn are really tight with like Shannon and Liana. So I was like, okay, like who's the one person that you can vote for where there's like really no blowback? And it was like, so for me, that's why I played the shot in the dark, and I just kind of was like, what am I going to say? Like, I could plead my case, and like, I probably could have tried a little harder during the live tribal, but it's like, I knew like there was very little blowback by getting me out. And like, strategically, I was where I wanted to be, right? Like, I remember getting calls after the season ended. Like, Danny was like very upset. He was like, apparently at final tribal, he was like, when Sydney got eliminated, I was like, oh, that's my guy, right? He was like, dude, it fucked up my game. Like, you getting out. I get a call from Tiffany. She's like, dude, you getting out fucked up my game. I was like, even post game, I'm exactly where I wanted to be. Like, right in between, you know, that person who was cool with everyone. And I'm like, dude, no one figured it out that I was, it was great. But like, again, like, as much as that's where I wanted to be in like the new era of Survivor, it's almost like diverted back because it was about strong alliances, then it was about voting blocks, and now you're kind of like, you need those strong alliances because these twists are so crazy. Like, you need a Hai and Lydia, right? You need like the Xander and Evie. Like, you need that. It was crazy because that's what it was like at the very beginning.
And I'm so interested because the first two votes of this season both had the players going home play the shot in the dark. What did you think of that after being the only one who played it the entirety of your own season?
Wait, Jenny. Oh, wait. Who's the second one that got out?
Mariah.
Oh, Jenny.
No, it was
Mariah. Oh, Mariah.
It was Zach Mariah. Yeah.
Wait, did Mariah play her shot in the dark?
Yeah, she did.
I missed tribal. Yeah. So
you didn't miss much. She went home unanimously, played the shot in the dark. Obviously didn't work.
I think like I remember it funny when Jeff first introduced shot in the dark. I was like, yeah, I'm not using this. This is dumb. I was like, there's so many twists in this game. I'm just gonna act like this one doesn't exist because it's like a 1 in 6 shot. I'm like, if I think of this too much, it's going to drive me crazy. There's already this steal a vote and this and this extra vote and this idol here. I'm like, I'm just gonna act like it doesn't even exist. And if that's what gets me out, then like, fuck it, that's God. All right. So I remember I was like, I don't even know what my shot in the dark is. I was like, I think I'm gonna play. I'm like, I don't know what this shit is. I remember I was like, woo, just throw it in my bag. So I guess like watching everyone else play, it's also really interesting too, because on my season, every vote that we had like run through that we obviously didn't go to tribal, or even like when I was like scrambling at my one tribal, we always considered the shot in the dark. We always like wanted to split the votes, right? Like even I think, honestly, I didn't really pay attention to the rest of my season. Like there was a point where like Erica was spearheading a vote. She's like, but dude, if like this is played or a shot in the dark is played, I'm fucked. So we got to split it here. I think it was a Shan vote.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the shot in the dark was always taken into consideration. Like there was always a split because like the thing with like $1 million game is like even if it is a 1 in 6 chance that like you're going home, you don't want to take that chance. So let's split it and not take the chance. So seeing like 2 unanimous votes with shot in the dark, like maybe it's smarter they're not taking it into consideration because they know how low the odds are, right? So it's like, but it is interesting, again, the juxtaposition, how like clearly people just aren't really considering it to be that much of a factor. Because even like Lydia had said like, oh, well, if someone plays something like, or a shot in the dark, like I'm going home. And I was thinking like, when it was me, I was like, okay, but like that's not happening. So it's like, we have to put a vote here. And we have to put a vote there. She kind of was just like, well, if it happens, it happens. I'm like, honestly, like respect, but we really, really, really considered it. And like, for me, I'm kind of salty they played it because like it would have been cool to be the only one ever, but that's the only reason I'm salty they played it. But I'm always going to be the first. So.
Yeah, you were always the first. No one could take it away from you, and your shot in the dark probably had the biggest impact.
Yeah,
and probably will have the biggest impact because kind of sent you home.
Yeah, you know, but that's great because I sent myself home. Like fuck everyone else. They didn't send me home. I sent me home, bitch.
I mean, I would say an hourglass sent you home, but also so did you.
No, it was like this bullshit, like this whole new wave of soft America where it's like we got to let the losers have a chance. So it's like they created a challenge that was meant to be won by strong people, and they created a twist that was meant to put the strong people at jeopardy. So then the weaklings, the less fortunate, the less gifted, the less athletic,
the less Sydney,
to shine, which is great. They achieved their desired goal to get a strong person out. But what they also achieved was literally losing the personality. Because besides me and Tiffany Seeley, like, please tell me, name one big personality that was actually somewhat impactful. I'll wait.
I got nothing.
Exactly.
I have ideas, but they're nowhere near as big as you. So
thank you.
Regardless. So
it sounds like had you actually been a part of the jury, you would have been miserable just seeing half these people most of the time.
Miserable. I would have like literally hated my life. Miserable. Like so beyond Like I was so glad that I was the only Lugo on pre-jury. Because if I had to see any of them, and I love Danny and Deshawn, right? Like if I had to see even them at that point, I was like, get out of my life. I'm miserable. That's God. That's God.
Okay. So, personally, I wouldn't want you to be miserable. So that worked out. But boy, would I have enjoyed the Ponderosa of you greeting everyone who comes in and being like, F you, I hate you.
I would have been like, hi.
Yeah, then we get
I can be fake.
Yeah, then we get a confessional of you being like, I fucking hate this person. Yeah, I would have wanted that. Why can't we have nice things, Jeff?
I was gonna say, I think she may have passed Eliza as one of the most famous jurors of all time, just from like reactions of sitting there.
Oh yeah,
you would have been up there.
I would have been like, my bitch. But I wouldn't even want to see it. I'd probably be a tribal like this, like literally, like so petty. I'd be like, I don't want to look at you. I didn't want to look at this because it's like it was my $1 million. It was mine. Okay, I had a loan in place, a property picked out. I had financing for my triplex in LA that I was going to rent out, have passive income, and now I'm living in a fucking dorm. Like, I'm a peasant, okay? I am living below the poverty line. If you take into consideration my allowance, I am literally below the poverty line. I know.
I've never...
That damn hourglass.
I know.
That damn hourglass. I also can't believe you, were ready to... You were so confident you were going to win the money, and then Jeff and production decided to screw you that you, were ready. You had ideas of how you're spending the money. You already started spending the money, it sounds like.
I know. I was like, I had everything picked out. I was like, now I'm resorting to selling feet pics to get coffee, fuck. Dad, if you're listening to me, I'm poor.
Oh, I so it. Listen, I'm not that person, but my God, I admire the confidence.
Well,
It
we
might.
know, you had a little bit of flirting back and forth with Russell on, on Twitter, and he apparently just got 30 grand. So,
Dude, crazy, right?
yeah.
I know. Babe called me after. He's like, guess how much I got? I'm like, 15. He's like, 28. And then I was like, oh my God, babe, I'm hungry, babe.
Russell, give her money. It would be one of the only good things you've ever done.
No, we love Russell. Well,
Maybe you do.
We love Russell. I love like the drama surrounding it too.
Oh
like
my
if you
God.
Google Russell Hance and the first thing that pops up is Sydney. Isn't that hilarious? My childhood self would have been like shitting herself.
That's pretty crazy.
It was
Everyone
so
just wants to know.
Everyone wants to know. I mean,
Is there anything you need to say?
We're pen pals.
Pen pals?
Yeah, we're pen pals.
You're probably better at writing letters than JT was to him.
Yeah, probably. Russell, like, I need him to auction my dress because this will be good publicity. I'm like, I auctioned my sports bra, and my eBay guy was kind of like slimy, so I was like really withholding my funds, and I still have my unwashed dress, so I need to auction it. So I want Russell to do it.
I've
got nothing.
Sure, someone will pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
Should have kept the undies.
Unbelievable. All right. Going a little backwards, the other twist that we saw in your season a couple times was this whole summit, the whole journey of going up there, protecting, risking your one. Did you ever want to go?
Oh no. Like that was like, I remember that was like one of my sound bits where it's like, okay, was like the first summit. I was like reading it and they're like, oh, Sydney, you should go. I think H said that. And I was like,
H, not even giving her a.
No, of course not. I was like, yeah, right. I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? I was like, I think I played Survivor very cautiously. I don't think I would do that again, but I don't regret it doing it the first time. I feel like you need that first experience so then the second one really go balls to the walls. Because if you go balls to the walls and you're like, I put it all out there, it's like, okay, or you could have just like waited a little bit and then put it all out there. I had no desire to go on the summit. When I found that fucking beware advantage, I was pissed about it. When I found out that the idol made you lose power, fuck, was I looking for an idol? No fucking way. I did not want any of that shit. I wanted to be like risk-free. I'm a very risk-averse person, and I wanted to stay risk-free on Survivor, keep the targets off me, because like I attract attention just by being me. Why the fuck would I want something that's gonna just make me even more of a target? That sounds heinous.
I do have one question for you because I watched 41 pretty closely, watched every episode twice podcast, but they didn't cover one. They didn't show us that you found the beware advantage, right? They just showed Nasir finding it.
No, they showed me finding it.
They did?
Yeah, it was like me sitting in camp and then like I was like in plain sight. I like saw him. Like,
oh, I saw you seeing it. I feel like I remember that, but I don't remember you like grabbing it.
And then I like just went, picked it. Dude, that's how sly I was. Even on TV, shit. You
even sit on TV. You know what? What's going on?
Oh man, I'm so sly.
Like, it was so minimal that like they showed you for 5 seconds with it, and I remember Nasir being like, "I want it, grab it, give me it."
Right.
So, but yeah.
So my question is probably a bit off topic, but we already heard it's you're not saying names. It's E, it's H. Is there anyone else on your cast that it's just they're their first initial? That's it.
N.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No, I don't really talk about like. It's hard for me to talk about too many other people besides like the Louvs, but the ones that I do talk about, I'm like friends with, and the other ones I'm just like indifferent towards.
Okay, it's fair enough.
Yep. But so Omar and Chanel go on this summit journey, whatever the hell you want to call it, and they're having this discussion, and Chanel's like, "I can't risk my vote. I'm on a tribe that already has only 5 votes. I can't risk it." And then Omar's like, "Oh." And then they're like, "Oh, let's help each other." If you're both of these people, what do you do?
If I was Chanel, I would have protected my vote. If I was Omar, I would have risked my vote.
Okay, I completely agree with you there.
I could not believe Chanel would say that and then risk her vote.
Yeah, because if you're Omar there, you're thinking we just had this conversation. She's going to play it safe. I'm getting an extra vote. Let's take it to the bank.
Because even like when me and Tiffany were on that island, I was like, dude, you can't risk your vote. She's like, but I can. Like, she made it clear that like she can. She's like, I'm in a good space socially. Like Chanel, and like who knows with editing? Like truly, who knows? But it's like Chanel, it seemed to be that she like was like, I need my vote. And like they both knew what was already gonna happen. And also something of note, they didn't show anything of their conversation. So I'm very curious what they talked about, because I feel like it was probably dry as fuck if they didn't put a single thing in that.
Yeah, if that's all we got was just, that small little snippet, I can't imagine it was exhilarating conversation.
I know, right? Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah. So back to your season for a second. When you went on this like nighttime journey, you didn't get caught, right? At all? Like,
that's something they didn't
just talk about that as a whole. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, so I find this thing and immediately I like stuck it in my water, pour my water bottle out, stick in my water bottle. I give the water bottle to Danny. I'm like, open the water bottle in private, show Deshaun. He said, okay. So Danny and Deshaun knew I was leaving. I like that day was like, ugh, like having stomach pains, like, ugh, like I'm gonna shit myself. Kind of just like setting it up. I didn't really care at that point if E found out. And honestly, I didn't really care if anyone found out, but like I had my like levels. Like, okay, if E found out, fine. If like H and N found out, like, but like it wasn't really gonna affect anything. But I was like playing with this like stomach pain thing. Another thing they didn't really show. I slept on the beach every night. I didn't sleep in the shelter because N snored, and I don't like snoring. And
that makes two of us.
I thought it was going to be like exposure therapy. It just literally made me want to kill myself. So I was like, I don't want to go to federal prison after this. And there's a machete right there. So I'm going to just sleep on the beach. So I slept on the beach. And so it wasn't going to be that hard for me to sneak off anyway, because I was already on the beach. I was an idiot. Like that. And I'm like, go to bed. Everyone, time for bed. Go to bed. And like Nasir, like, shit, I said his name, and like really sniffed me out. Like he fucking knew. He was like, what is, I was like, we have a challenge. We need to be well rested. It's time for bed. I was so glad they didn't show me being an idiot. So apparently when I leave, N is going crazy. Like, where is she? And he's like sniffing around. I come back and like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but like, there's an extra cameraman on me, which I can't really explain away, because usually there's like one. So it's like, he knows something's up just by virtue of like the presence of this person. And also it's like, where was she? And I was like, I was shitting. And then he's like, no, you weren't. Yeah. I was like, were you looking for me while I was having diarrhea? I'm like, I told you I was sick this year. I was like, you are creepy. I was like, you were looking for me while I told you I am literally shitting my. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, that's disgusting. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to look for me while I told you I literally am sick to my stomach. But like, it didn't matter.
All right. So what happened when you were at that like little mystery island?
Kind of exactly what they showed a little bit. So like basically at the mystery island, we talk about it. We kind of have an idea what's going on. And I was like, listen, I'm not naive. And I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want advantages at this point. I was like, I'm not naive. I know like we're not all going to choose TARP, but it's like, this like Survivor 41 season of advantages. There's a possibility that there will be 2 steal votes floating around. That is very scary. Let's choose one person to take it. And we're just minimizing it. And I said before CBS said it, knowledge is power. I was like, we know where it's going. So we all have an advantage in the fact that we know where this is. Okay. So this was my proposal. I know, next level brain. And he's like, I want it. And I was like, I'm not going to take it because I thought of this idea and that would be very like icky if I did that. And I'm trying to like build trust. I was like, I think Brad should take it. He seems like a stand-up guy, God-fearing man. I was like, Tiffany, she's like, are we going to play tough? Are we going to play it safe? Play Survivor. And I was like, we're going to play Survivor fucking safely, bitch. Like, I was like, calm down. So I was like, after she's doing this, like, play it crazy, I was like, let's give it to Brad. But I think me and Tiffany both like actually really did want to work with each other, and like us both like sticking to the plan was like our good faith. So right when we went to the island, like for the merge, I was like, I don't have it. She's like, I don't have it. And I was like, and then then we're good.
My goodness.
So I guess, can you talk a little bit more? What was there anything specifically that Brad did? Because clearly it sounded like, you trusted him. It was, hey, he should have it. And then, I mean, you mentioned earlier that after 30 hours you went and you had Thanksgiving with him and his family. So is there something about Brad that we're not seeing? Or
on the island, it was more just like I didn't want Tiffany to have it than like, because I didn't really necessarily trust Brad. Like I never, like when I was like looking at the cast and like looking at the tribes, I never saw Brad as someone I was gonna work with. Like nothing against him, but it was just didn't think
you're very different people.
Of it. It was more just like, I'm not gonna take it. Tiffany's too manic right now. Let's give it to him. And for me, I was also like, these advantages put so many targets on people also. I'm like, he's a big guy. It's another target, It's like, I know where it is. I can use it against him maybe in the future. And then just like, I guess out of the game, like he is just, just the salt of the earth, like the best type of people, the best type of person. And like, I'm a big opportunist, a big experienced person. So I was like, for me, like my family Thanksgiving is just like a drama, right? And I was like, I live in New York. I'm from LA. I'm like, I usually used to go to my ex's, but I was like, I'm free. Like I can do whatever I want. Like, what should I do this year? I was going to leave the country, but then I was like, you know what? I promised Brad I would come. I was like, I promise I'll come to the ranch. I'm like, this is the time. I was like, I might as well go like Thanksgiving. That'd be awesome. Hunt. Cause I've like never done that. So I was like, fuck it. Like, let's just do it. But just like, very welcoming human. It's like, I literally texted him. I was like, hey, will you be like, this was the text. I was like, hey, will you be around the ranch for Thanksgiving? He's like, yeah, you thinking of coming? I was like, can I? He's like, say, of course. I'm like, I bet. Book, done. I invited myself, essentially. Even though I'm always invited, I invited myself.
Nice. It's perfect for you. Absolutely perfect for you.
Dude, I wore Carhartt. I didn't even know what that was. I know. And camo.
Wow.
I know.
Just incredibly admirable.
I know.
One other thing I want to talk, like, I'm gonna keep going backwards in this episode because all the good stuff happened at the end. What do you think of this whole challenge? Obviously, you said that everybody but Jonathan is really weak, but like, what did you think of them deciding to do a challenge like this with the conditions that were there?
I mean, I think it made sense. I think, like, I don't know, you can't really. Like, I guess you can monitor the tide, but like based on like my season, like people were not good swimmers at all. Like they just weren't. Like the standard to go on Survivor and your swimming abilities are basically like, can you make it to the other side without drowning? And it's like, come on. I think I grew up in California, like I said, 7,000 million times, but like I love the ocean. I think it would have been absolutely fine, like in the swells, no problem. I mean, they weren't not going to do the challenge. You know how much fucking preparation goes into it, and then for them, like, who knows? But I think it like worked out fine. Like Jonathan like carried the tribe, and then the other two tribes were neck and neck anyway. So I mean, it is what it is. But it was fun to watch people like suffer, like people like that. Like America's Funniest Home Videos were just like kids falling. Like, you know what I mean? Like people love that. So it's great. It's like, they almost drowned.
Yeah.
Well, and I know I always wonder about people, like if you didn't grow up by a coast, if you were more middle of the country and like, oh, I can swim because you swim in lakes or pools, but swimming in the ocean is a different beast. If you've never done it before and you're not used to the tides, the waves, the current, it can be a lot harder.
Oh, there was like one day I was spearfishing. So I was like, oh my God, this riptide is going to take me out. Like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this sucks. And no one's out there with me, right? So I'm just like, God damn it. And the reef was so shallow, like so shallow. But like, I spent my whole life in the ocean, like my whole life. So it's like, I just don't fight it. Don't fight it. I don't fight it. I'm like literally this far from the reef and I'm just like hovering, right? Like, don't fight it, getting pulled out, riptide. I'm like, I got to stand on it and like try to walk back. Like at this point, one swell, one current. I fall one time. I'm out there for like hours. One fucking time. Didn't show my whole back. It's like bloody, ripped up, terrible. One fucking time. One time.
And
It's
yet,
different.
so that you have the torn ACL and you have your back all the way, and you still kicked ass.
Thank you. It was, yeah. When people say like, oh, like people always ask like, oh, do people need medical? I'm like, I needed medical. I always needed medical. Like I was always like cut up. They're like, they really encourage you to wear shoes. I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I'm sorry you gave H and E water shoes and you gave me fucking Stan Smiths and Asics. Okay. I'm not getting these like crusty shoes on my fucking feet. So also I didn't want to look like a loser. Also the people swimming in shoes, I'm like, bro, like, come on. So I was like, oh, I'll just like not wear shoes. And my feet were fucked. Maybe I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna learn from you and get some water shoes if I ever go play Survivor. I don't care how it looks.
No, but I feel like that's a good takeaway is that if you're swimming and you have shoes on, you're probably not that good of a swimmer.
I mean, yes, normally, but in Survivor, it'd be like I am like going everywhere with bubble wrap because like I do not want to get hurt. I want to be able to like compete and not get medevaced. God forbid.
That's the hardest part is like, since it's so humid and you're always like wet, like you're in the water, or you're like on a boat or whatever it is, nothing heals. Like every wound that you have like stays wounded until you literally get to non-humid environment. So I thought like the hunger, the lack of sleep, like that was going to be the worst. The only like pain I felt was like my skin. Like my skin always hurt. Always. I still have like scars on my hands from the spear. Luckily, it's like not on my face anymore. Hopefully, only Botox scars only.
No,
nice.
Looks good.
One other weird thing from this challenge, and I've noticed it more with Australian Survivor Land, the weird rewards. Like this reward is a toolkit and a basket of fruit. I'm like, I get why, but this combo is okay.
It's so weird. Well, I was like, really a toolkit? We didn't get a toolkit. So I was kind of pissed. But I think like that was kind of the sucky thing also is I think the fans love to see like these emaciated folk like literally munching on fried chicken. How fun is it to watch someone eat a fucking banana? It's not fun at all. Okay.
I don't think it's fun to watch any of these people eat anything. I'm just like, okay, give them a reward, move on.
Yeah.
Wait,
is that?
I would say I'm just glad they're combining the reward and immunity challenges so we don't have to waste time on a challenge just for them to win a bowl of fruit. Thank God we don't have to do that. However, we're getting the summit and all the twists in place, which I'm like, I don't love that either. So
I think this is better though. I think they are showing a lot more camp life than they did on my season.
Oh, definitely. I mean, your season got nothing. We, again, did not learn of E or H until the merge.
Which is, I mean, did you even learn of them at the merge anyways?
No.
E we did because she ended up winning the game. So we learned a little bit about the winner. Heather, nothing. Sorry, we got nothing from her. Like,
I mean,
bless her heart, but
that's their fault for casting subpar personality.
Your words, not mine.
I actually think E was much funnier than they like let her on to be though. Like honestly, like if I'm gonna be quite frank, like I think her edit was slightly dry, but I thought she was hysterical.
Oh, interesting. Would not have expected that because again, we didn't get much of her on the screen.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, it's hard to compete when you're like next to me. So it's like, do we give her that screen time? Like that was funny what she said, but what Sydney said was just like so much fun.
I mean, your tribe was literally you and an NFL player.
Yeah.
And Deshaun, who's pretty cool as well.
Deshaun's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Absolutely. That's just what was disappointing is we didn't even get enough of you and Danny and Deshaun because you kept winning, and so maybe we get a snippet in the beginning of the episode, and then you'd have to spend time with whoever lost the challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. All right. So besides the challenge, besides the summit and tribal, not much else happened, honestly. Like, this was one of the most imbalanced edits of an episode I think we've ever seen. Because I was like, I watched the first time, I'm like, did we even go to Ika at all? And then I watched it, I'm like, no, we didn't. Okay, we didn't go there. We went to Taku for a minute at the beginning where all we saw was Marianne finds the beware advantage and then has to talk about bunny rabbits or whatever, which, you know what, I will say, they've gotten better with the phrases that they have to say. This season's phrases have been fun.
Yeah.
At least for last season was like, okay, you're still workshopping this.
I think Marianne is hysterical. I think the whole cast is hysterical. Like I don't think Survivor's made me like laugh out loud. Like I don't think it's like a comedy show, but I'm like I laughed like truly.
Now, do you think you'd be able to play with Marianne, or would that positivity all the time, like at 100, drive you nuts?
I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I do. I think I could do it. I think it would. I don't know. I'm very unaffected, I think. And I think Survivor kind of showed me that maybe I'm more affected than I do think. But it wasn't from positivity that affected me. It was probably from just like negativity and like annoyingness. But in general, in my regular life, I'm pretty unaffected. So if someone's like super sad or super happy, it doesn't affect me too much. So I think Marianne would have just been like constant humor. Comedy.
All right. I mean, we didn't get anything of Ika, but I do want to ask you, what do you think of Tori? Because Tori is the person who probably has gotten the most comparison to you.
Oh, really?
I've seen a lot of comparisons with her, especially her being almost like the antagonist on social media, going like not taking anyone's shit and just like being herself.
Enlighten me. What does she do on social media?
I'm honestly not on social media, but I've just heard that like people don't like Tori very much, partially for like political beliefs or whatever it may be. But she's kind of not backing down on like people are like, oh, she shouldn't be on the season. We hate her. She's bad, and she's just like going at people.
Good for her.
Like, not curling up into a ball and saying, oh, you're right about everything. I don't know. She's the confidence she has like is not yours, but it reminds me of you a little bit. I don't know. What are your thoughts on her?
Yeah, I don't really have like thoughts. Like I don't think she was the most impressionable so far. I think she's playing a good game. I liked her strategy, like going into it from what I remember from like episode 1. I don't know. I'm neither here nor there with her. I think one of my pet peeves is when like Survivor players have these really strong opinions about people, because it's like you should know out of everybody how fucking little they show. So it's like in general, like casts like tend to be like very close friends. It's like you will ride or die for your people, even if you have like completely antithetical like political beliefs, for example, because you like actually get to know them as like a person. So it's like, how come like all these people will ride or die for this person, but then like this fucker in like central Kansas has like the strongest opinion. So it's like, I hear these past survivors like just shit on me or shit on anyone. It's like, you're a fucking loser. It's like you out of everybody should know how fucking little is shown. Like, it's just crazy. So it's like the only real judgment I think I've passed on the players has been like positive judgment, because it's like I have a very newfound respect for the whole like process and the casting. And it's like, even if it's not being shown, you know, someone has something cool, or it's like they did something, they survived. They beat out so many people to get to that point. So, Tori seems cool. Like, again, neither here nor there. I like that she's not back down on social media. The whole thing with social media is like, I thought it would like either like really inflate my ego or like really make me sad, because I remember in high school I had this interview and it went viral and people were like commenting like really terrible things, and I was like, oh my god, like remember one night I like shed a tear, and then I was like, wait, why am I fucking crying? Like, I don't know this people. So I was like kind of use that as like a proxy for like how I would be, and I think like some of it's just overwhelming because you kind of want to see like the gossip, but like at the end of the day it just doesn't affect me. And like anyone that's like it just like the love is great, the hate is fucking great. It's like the people I hate you are fucking losers. The people I love you are kind of losers. It's like come on.
So you're just calling all Survivor fans losers?
No, I love Survivor and I love the fans, but it's like anybody that has such a fucking strong opinion is just like, especially the former Survivor players.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I feel like on Twitter, anytime it's someone that you personally don't know and you're adding them and be like, oh, I'm going to get them good. Like, I don't need that person most of the time. But like,
no.
Right?
Goodbye.
Who do you think you are that you can just say whatever you want? It's
I know.
Just
I
stop.
remember
Just
like
people stop.
I had this internship and my boss was like, "Oh, like send me your Twitter," and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" I was like, "I'm gonna kill myself." I was like, "I'm literally gonna kill myself." And then she's like, "I really respect that you're like not backing down from the hate." I'm like, "Oh my god."
You got a good boss.
Brings up like my Twitter or something. Like, oh my god, the day I remember at a job interview and like that day I posted like a really sus photo on Instagram and I was like, oh my god. I was like, please God, don't look at my Instagram. But I didn't take it down. But I was like, oh please. Like, yeah.
That's bold for sure. All right. Do either of you have any more thoughts on the episode before we cut to commercial and come back to rate these final 14 players?
I think the only other thing, and we can get about it more when we're doing the ratings, is the whole scene in the beginning of Daniel taking it from Mike and then his idol and reading it and losing it. It's the only other thing that really stands out. And I'm sure we can touch on that more as we're doing the player rankings.
I think it's going to have an impact for you, Dan.
Oh, it's going to.
I liked the episode. I thought it was funny. I thought it was like a good balance of camp. Like you said, it was a very odd, unbalanced edit, but I kind of liked it because you got the camp. Like they didn't harp on the summit. You got the good tribal. You got the interesting challenge. Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I really did. I think it was hysterical.
I would say if this is a one-off, I like it. If we're going to keep editing episodes like this, I'm going to get annoyed. But if this is a one-off, very good episode.
Fair.
All right. We're going to hear from our sponsors and be back in a couple minutes. Bye.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
All right, and we are back. Are you both ready to rate our final 14?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
I need a better showing than last week.
I mean, can you be much worse, Dan? I mean, you gave the player who probably played the worst this week the best rating.
I told you not to listen to me. I would most likely be wrong.
I know. I knew you were going to be wrong.
I warned you.
I do a podcast with you, so of course I'm going to listen to you.
Do I have to put them in like order, or am I rating them like 1 to 10? Like what
Just on a 1 to 10.
1 to 10. Yeah. All right. So we'll start with Jonathan. I'm going to start with him. I had him at a 6 last week. I'm staying there with him this week. He beasted the challenge. That's a good thing. But it's now so obvious that he's a beast that I am concerned for him. And so like his shot to win to me is almost none. But is he in a good spot with his tribe? I think so. So that's why I'm at a 6 from Dan. Where are you at with good old Jonathan?
I have him at a 6 as well. I don't think it's great when I think Jeff couldn't help himself. It's his alpha male. It's his jerk-off moment that he just has to, this is who he loves. He loves his alpha males. And it doesn't help. Everyone obviously saw what he did. And then just to be like, wow, like that might be the best individual performance we've ever seen in the Tribe Challenge. So I don't think he's in danger of going anytime soon, because apparently he can win all these challenges just by himself against his cast. But I worry about him as an early merge boot because of him just being so much bigger and physically more dominant than the rest of the cast.
He has to lose one at some point. That's the thing. It's mathematically impossible for him to win all of them. And if, like, dear God Jeff rigs it where he wins the season, I'm gonna flip a table.
There's no
Right.
way, like, I don't even think he's gonna beast the individual challenges because, like, how often now do you see like strength, just pure like brawn?
He's on the
It's
wrong
a
version
lot.
of Survivor.
Yeah,
It's a lot more balance related and endurance once you get
Mhm.
post merge, which
And puzzle. Yep.
what
we'll see.
Danny won one challenge.
yeah, that's true.
Sydney, where do you have Jonathan?
I mean, I think I'm gonna rate him as a 7 just
Okay.
because I'm like totally in agreement with you guys, except for the fact that I actually don't think he's gonna be like a crazy challenge beast. So I think like he's not gonna be like a 10 because like he's always gonna have that target being the alpha male. But I think after like a couple challenges where he probably is not even in contention, then like he won't be considered that at that point.
All right. I'm with you there. All right, let's go over to Lindsay. Dan, why don't you start with Lindsay?
I think I had her a 5 this week. I'm going to keep it at a 5. It's simply I know next to nothing about her that I can say positive or good. So she stays right down the middle for me.
My notes are not much of anything. I had her at a 5. She stays there. What about you, Sydney? What do you think about Lindsay?
Yeah, same. I like forgot she was on the season. All right,
You're not the only one.
I was going to say, Sydney was looking at her like, oh no, we haven't seen her on screen all season.
Yeah, well, I remember like I got a comment on Instagram. It's like, oh, you remind me of her. I'm like, Jersey. I was like, do I look like a Jerseyer? I'm sorry, Alex, but I'm like,
no, I don't take offense to it.
Okay,
I'm not from that part of Jersey.
Yeah, but I was like, really? It's like, isn't Asbury Park by like the Jersey Shore?
It is. It's
Ah,
a nice part of Jersey Shore, but not where I'd want to live.
there's like the nice part of Compton too, but like I'm not gonna you know what I mean? I'm like, gosh, you get dirty. You could be in the nice part of the Jersey Shore, but you're still getting dirty.
Yes,
Four.
you're right.
4 for geographical purposes.
4 for
But no, Lindsay, you're chill for what I don't know about you.
4 for geographical purposes. I love it. All right. Next up is everyone's favorite, Marianne. Why don't you start with Marianne, Sydney? What do you think of her?
She's fucking hysterical, dude. She's so fucking funny. I gotta give her like I would say like a 7 or an 8, just because she's funny as fuck. It's like she's not really as much as she's like so loud. She's not even making herself a target though, because all of her loudness is not even like really super Survivor related. But then she's out here like finding shit, like she's playing. She's playing. So she's a really interesting mix of like everything you shouldn't do, but then also playing hard. And like it's kind of working. And she's just hysterical.
Okay. Marianne went from a 5 the first week to a 4 last week, and I'm bringing her down to a 3 this week. Actually. Really, and let me tell you why. She's very likable. But again, she's a bit much. She's on a tribe of 4. She has no vote now. And unless the somebody on Ika finds the beware thing, all 3 of them say the phrase and she doesn't know. I don't see how she's not gone if this tribe loses. Granted, they're a good physical tribe thanks to Jonathan, so they may not lose, but they've already lost once before because of a blindfold puzzle. There are more puzzles they could lose, and I just don't see at this point how it's not Marianne if they lose. So.
I am going to trend in the opposite way. I think we were on agreement last week. I'm going to have her at a 6, simply just because if you look at it and they're following similar patterns to last season, that's maybe 2 more vote offs before the merge. I don't think they lose at this point. I'd be scared for her if they lost, but I think at this point, barring some type of switch up, they don't lose. They're going to get to the merge, and she's rolling into the merge with an extra vote and an idol. I think she could be in a good spot as long as she just survives a few more days.
I think you made that point, but she's in a position right now where if they lose, she's gone, and anything can happen on Survivor. So that's why I'm not so high on her. I hope it does not come to bite her, though. I really don't want to lose her, but right now I think
stand by my 6.
Yeah, that's fair. She needs. Agree to disagree. She needs to step it up. All right. The last person on this tribe is good old Omar. Dan, why don't you start with Omar?
I I think I'm also gonna have him at a 6. He's at a little bit of trouble because we obviously know that he's not gonna have a vote, but I don't think he's anyone's target. I don't think it's his fault that he misread Chanel risking his vote, considering she gave him all the ammunition to think that he was going to get a free extra vote here. And if you look on the dynamics, I still think that everyone thinks they're in tight with him on his tribe. So I don't think he's blown it out of the water by any means, but I think he's in a good spot.
That's more than fair. Sydney, what do you have to say about Omar?
I'd probably give him a 6. I think he's, again, so hysterical. I love his alliance with Jonathan. I think that is like the most wholesome, hilarious, dynamic duo ever. But at the same time, I don't see his loyalty to Jonathan is like completely unwavering, which I actually think is going to bite him in the ass a little bit. I could see him being a little manipulated, to be honest. He's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have Omar at a 5. I brought him down one point from last week for the reason of still a really good player, got a good head on his shoulders. I don't blame him for losing his vote because of the whole Chanel situation. However, I still have to dock you a point because that puts you in a worse position now. And if you want to know something, think of something crazy. This tribe loses and things stay the way they're. Jonathan and Lindsay are the only people who can vote. They are the only people who can vote. And I still think Omar's in a good spot, and I think they get rid of Marianne. But that's still not good to not have a vote on a tribe of 4. So
where I'm the most worried with him is because, like I said, is I believe that they're not going to lose another challenge. Is that he's going to be banking that he has this vote at that merge episode, God. And if it's not necessarily him that goes home, but they have this plan in place. And it doesn't work because he doesn't have his vote, and he ends up losing an ally that way.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, they're gonna be like, Omar, play the extra vote. Great, we have 2 votes, and now we have 2 less votes. Great. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to the tribe where nothing happened. So I think we can run through these people quickly. Let me start with Drea, actually. I had her at a 5 last week. I've kept her at a 5 because I literally wrote for her. Literally got nothing and just drew an arrow down to the rest of these people. I got nothing on her. In a decent spot with her tribe. Not an amazing spot, not a terrible one. Got a good head on her shoulders. I'm at a 5. Sydney, what do you think about Drea?
I think she's like an absolute beast. I would give her like a 5. Yeah, probably like a 5 just because like I could see her as she's like, if I were to quote myself, like the threat of threats, like she like might even be more threatening than me in the sense where she actually has like some more balls than I had. Like she's like really just like shows the advantages. She's like really running shit on her tribe. She's athletic. Like the woman is like unstoppable. But on Survivor, I always say you can't be good at anything. And that's how you win. And she's good at everything.
Yep.
So
Dan, what about you?
I have her at a 6. I think, she still does have an extra vote in her pocket. She seems to be in a good minority. I don't think she's in danger of going home anytime soon, but I wouldn't say that we have a lot to give her huge upside to this point either.
She's a dark horse to go home on that tribe. Like if things get wonky, I could see it, but not right away at least. All right, next up is Roxroy. Sydney, why don't you start with Roxroy?
I give him like 4 or 5. I don't know too much about him. His edit seems like a little annoying, but again, I say very cautiously like that's his edit. I don't think he's necessarily an annoying person. I don't see much being added or taken away. Like he doesn't seem very threatening or social, so maybe he's an under the radar player, but he could also be an easy vote because no collateral damage.
So where are you at, 4 or 5?
I'll give him a 4.
Okay. All right. I like when Sydney agrees with me. I also have him at a 4 because he's not playing a terrible game. Not playing a great one. His tribe doesn't seem to love him. I still remember Zach saying the best 30 minutes of his Survivor experience is when Roxroy had a confessional.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Roxroy's knows the game decently. People, I think, respect him. I don't know if they like him, but he might be fine for now. So he's at a 4 because we got nothing. We got nothing from him. All right. Dan, what about you? What do you have for him?
4s across the board.
Cool.
Everything that you guys said. He seems to be grinding on people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's the next one going home, because it could just be the edit, or it could simply just be, hey, he's going to annoy people in the future, so I want to keep him around. So
very fair. All right, let's talk about Romeo really quick. I'll start with him. I have Romeo at a 6. Likeable, not going anywhere likely in this tribe. Not much else. I don't know.
I like Romeo.
You do?
I do. In an odd way. He just like, again, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. When I did casting, like Romeo was there and I was like, we're not like allowed to speak or anything. And I remember he was like, freak me out. Like he gave me like the scariest vibes. I'm like, I'm not friends with this kid. And he's really funny. Like I really like Romeo. I think he's a cool energy. I think, listen, I'm not a fan of sob stories. Like I think it's so passe at this point. I like Romeo's story. Like I kind of like everything he's providing entertainment wise, socially. Like I think he has a good shot. I would give him like an 8.
8? Wow. Okay.
I like Romeo a lot. But honestly, I actually maybe knock him down to a 7 because I forgot about him until you mentioned him. Because like I remember thinking like, oh my god, who's so funny? I know I like so many players, but like Romeo did not come to mind. Like I forgot he existed. But now that he's in front of me, I think he's. I like him.
Yeah, I think this is the first episode we've ever seen pretty much where an entire tribe does not get any screen time, especially Romeo because he didn't even play in the challenge. All right.
And for exactly what Sydney said is why I have him at a 5, because there are times I forget he's on the season. I don't think he's doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I think he's in a good position, but I don't have a ton of positives either, other than it just seems to be in a decent position with his tribe.
Yeah. I think that gives him
skincare routine.
Yeah.
He's 37?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Does not look it. All right. Let's talk about Swathi next. Dan, why don't you start with Swathi?
I have her at a 6, and this is kind of going from previous weeks. I think she's in a pretty good spot. She kind of seems to be, they could do the all women's thing. They could do some of those original alliances that she where she was part of with Romeo and Roxroy. So I think she's in a good, well, not great, but decent spot. So I'll have her at a 6. It's really hard to talk about this tribe after this episode.
Really is. Sydney, what about you? What do you have to say about Swathi?
I agree. I would give her a 5, just straight up optics. Like she's an Ivy League student. She's 19. Like I just find like the younger people don't do as well. I could not imagine being 19 on the show. Like all the props in the fucking world. Like Jesus Christ. And also like they're gonna say like she's very intelligent. She's does the army shit or whatever the fuck she does. So like I think she's gonna be like a very obvious target at one point. So I just like don't see her necessarily winning, but I could see her definitely like I don't think she's in a bad spot whatsoever at this point. I also like her personality. She's cool. Like she seems like a dope chick.
Yep, absolutely. I have her at a 6. I think she's one of the better players on her tribe. With Romeo, not in a bad spot. We got nothing. So, all right. Last but not least on this tribe is Tori. Sydney, why don't you start with Tori?
First of all, what the fuck is Rogers, Arkansas? Is that Arkansas?
Yep, it is Arkansas.
Cute. Okay, so once I met someone from Arkansas, I'm like, where? They're like, by the Walmart. I'm like, I don't even know why I asked where. And also, like, I had never been to a Walmart, so I'm like, what the fuck?
By the Walmart. The fact that there is one Walmart.
Well, apparently it's a thing because it's like Walmart headquarters or something. So it's like the Walmart. Dude, I had to survey people because I thought it was so absurd. So I wonder if Rogers is by the Walmart.
So I'm looking it up right now. If you just search it up and you look at the maps, there's a Sam's Club that's by, and generally there's a Walmart nearby.
Okay.
So you might be right. It is the very top northwest corner of Arkansas that's right by Kansas and Oklahoma and Missouri. So
Redneck,
pretty
redneck,
much
redneck.
middle of nowhere.
All right.
Yeah, so I like Tori. I think from like what I've seen, I think I'll give her like another like 5, 6. I don't know, like not in a bad spot, not in a good spot, but like almost when people are in bad spots, I almost feel like they do better because it's like the game always switches anyway. So I don't think she's actually probably in trouble anytime soon. I'm like teetering between 5 and 6, but I think I'm gonna go with 5 just because like I really don't like the bikini.
Fair enough. I have her at a 4. I had her at a 4 last week, tied with Roxroy because I think they're the two people who could go home if this tribe loses, and they're not very strong, so they could absolutely lose. The only strong person on this tribe really being Drea, maybe Swathi a little bit. Other than that,
I think it's strong. I think she's strong.
Strong, but I'm saying just in comparison,
Yeah,
to who's out there. Tori's not in a great spot, not playing the game great, but she's still there and kicking. So I'm at a 4. Dan, what about you?
I have her at a 5. I know she started out really rough, but I know we were kind of talking about last week that I think the longer she stays in the game, kind of under the radar, it's going to give her, more longevity. So I think she's crawling her way out of the bottom spot of that tribe. And so I think Roxroy's still in a little bit worse. So I'm going to put her at a 5.
I agree.
All right. And now let's go to the tribe where all the action happened, and that's Swathi. And why don't we start with Chanel? Also, let me start with her. I have dropped her down to a 5. Didn't play the summit well. Her tribal performance was not great. It was okay, but I don't think she got damaged too much. She didn't go home. She survived losing the vote. I think she's like in an okay position going back to camp. Not definitely in a worse position than when she left, but not a great one. So it all averages out to a 5 in my opinion. Dan, what about you?
I'd have her to 6. I think she didn't necessarily have a great episode, but I still don't think that she'll be in danger of going home. So I still think she's in a decent spot, and I think she definitely has tools to recover to get herself back in, but not incredibly overly impressed at this point.
Yeah. All right. Sydney, what do you have to say about Chanel?
I think she's sick. Like she's cool. Like her and Drea, like really just talk about like what CBS wants. These like strong women, like in all aspects. I think she's definitely one of them. But after this tribal and like her just like swerving the question was obviously a double-edged sword. I think either way she was kind of fucked because she either answers it, which fucks her, she doesn't answer it, where it's kind of like admission by silence. So I'd probably have to give her like a 6. I don't think she's fucked yet, but I think people are gonna catch on to like how she's running shit.
This is the episode where I started feeling a little less good about making her my winner pick, but we'll see what happens. All right. Next up, and you know what? Dan, I'm going to let you start with Daniel.
2. It's a 2. It was awful. It was, from just start. Okay, and someone pointed this out to me. And if you looked at it, I still haven't gone back, so maybe, false information. But on his CBS profile, one of his like hobbies or skills or whatever was like, what was it? It was like finding stuff or like keeping track of things. And it's just like, that is exactly what you did not do this entire time. Like you were losing stuff. It's kind of scary that he works in a law firm if that's how he is with documents. I think he played most of this episode. I can't say much positive. It's just 2.
I hope he has an assistant that handles that for him. Sydney, what do you have to say about your fellow law brethren in Daniel?
Honestly, I know like he got a lot of shit like this episode. So it started with him losing shit. I just thought it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, agree.
I just thought it was fucking hilarious. And then like tribal, like when you take out the fluff, I just don't think it was that bad. I mean, I think he put himself in a not so great position with his tribe, and he's gonna have a lot of damage control, and I just don't think he's capable of controlling it, is what it seems like. I think some people can kind of dig themselves out, like Chanel, for example, but I don't think Daniel has that. I'd probably give him like a 4 or a 5. I'd give him a 4.
Okay.
But he's fucking hilarious.
All right. I'm in the middle.
think his saving grace is if someone just looks at it like he is such a disaster. Like that's who I want to go with for a while.
I think it's possible.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of the both of you. I have Daniel at a 3. Tribal was rough. Not awful, not amazing, but rough. He didn't get what he wanted either. Did not get what he wanted in that vote. He lost Mike's idol, and which he lost it after Mike was hesitant to give it to him because he was afraid of losing it. That together is like, you're annoying the wrong person. It's like Mike's a nice guy, but it's like he's the guy that's like, don't get him annoyed. Just don't annoy him because he's like so pleasant now, but he's not going to be pleasant when he's annoyed. And the reason I'm giving him 3, he's in a bad spot. Who's going home on this tribe if they lose again? And honestly, how is it not Daniel? Really, the only thing that's saving him, I think, is Mike not having a vote. That's really it.
I mean that, and he had this stuff shoved down his pants. How did he not? That was the last place that he checked. Like, how did he not realize that something was shoved down his pants?
True.
Maybe I'm not gonna say it. He probably thought something else was down there. I don't know. All right. Next is good old High. Sydney, why don't you start with High?
I don't know. I'd put him right in the middle. I'd give him a 5. I think he's aware. I think he's clearly strong in his alliance, and also firm that it does take a lot of balls to say you're willing to go to rocks. I think the vegan thing is a little like showy, performative, and like no one likes that, like except CBS editors. Other than that, I think he's good. I think he's gonna be around for a bit. I think he's gonna have decent screen time. I think we're gonna get to know a lot of High, but I would put him in the center for me.
All right. I have him at a 6. I think he's in the best spot of anybody on this tribe now. He got what he wanted. His best ally is still in the game. And he's probably not in danger going home next, I don't think. So right now he's at a 6 for me. Dan, what about you?
I have him at a 7. I was impressed with his read on Chanel, who's, we thought was one of the better players. Him just picking up that something was wrong. So, him and Lydia couldn't split the vote. I like that he was able to, kind of stick with Lydia, say, hey, I'm going to rocks. I think he has her for as long as they're both in the game. And I think it means something that in Jenny's final words, I'm sure she had said a lot more, but the fact that it was left in that you should watch out for High because he's probably going to slit someone's throat. And I think you're going to see it at some point in this game.
Yep. Interesting. Well, so what did you have him at again? I'm sorry. I just wanted
7.
7. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Next up is the person who almost went home but didn't, and that is Lydia. I'll start with her. I have her at a 5. She could be like the default boot again. Just be like, all right, let's get rid of her. Because, however, I think Daniel has imploded his game enough that she's in a better spot than him, and I also think she's in a better spot than the person we'll talk about next because she actually has a vote. Not a bad player, not amazing. 5. Dan, what about you?
I have her at a 4. I still think she's in a bit of trouble. But I think a lot of it depends on how things shake out and what everyone else decides to do with Daniel. So I don't think she is in the clear yet, but I don't think she's in the worst position on that tribe.
That's very, very fair. All right. Sydney, what about you?
See, I think I'd give her like a 7.
Okay.
I think I don't see her as going home next if they go to tribal. And if she can survive to the merge, then like I could see the girl having a shot. She's social enough, under the radar enough, but like personable. But like then you have the Marianne who's like the bubble, like almost like the personality shield for Lydia, who also has like a really bubbly, happy personality. So
The two of them at the merge together would be something else.
right, like I like what I've seen. I just feel like the game switches so much just because she was like kind of the default boot this time has to mean she's safe the next time. It has to mean it. When does it ever go the way you anticipate?
No, that's very fair. All right, and last of all is the Hoboken man himself, good old Mike Turner. Dan, why don't you start with Mike?
I have him at a 5. I know he's not in a great spot without having a vote, but I think enough has happened. Like, and it sucks that he also lost Jenny, which is his tightest ally. But I think there's going to be enough scrambling on everyone else's part that if they have to go back to tribal, that he's going to be able to survive it. And I think if, there's a few of them that realize he has that idol, that, someone could see it beneficial knowing where that's at going into merge.
Very fair. Sydney, what about you? Where's your head at with Mike?
See, if you would have asked me like episode 1, I'd say like 2, because I was like, this guy has no idea what he's doing out there. But then he's like, I need to like go out of my comfort zone, start making relationships. Makes these relationships very likable on his tribe. Love his strategy with the idol. He wants to make it to merge. Like, he's willing to make it to the merge without a vote, so nobody knows at the merge that he has an idol. Like, amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I would have to give him I would say literally at the beginning I would have said 2, and now I would almost say an 8, because he's so confident in his relationships that he literally is willing to not have a vote until merge, not say the fucking phrase.
Okay.
Come on, that's awesome.
All right. I previously would give him credit for that, but now I think that's going to bite him in the ass, honestly. I have him at a 4. The only person he's in a better position with on this tribe is Daniel. He lost his number 1 ally. He still can't vote. And I just think this tribal didn't go great for him. I think it was okay. And he's in a relatively okay spot if he makes merge, but he has to get there first. So I'm a little worried, and I think, because I don't think Daniel has his best interest at heart. I don't think Chanel cares about him at all. I think Hi Lydia, they're like, okay, we like you, but we're not going to fight for you. I don't think he has anybody fighting for him. That's why I'm at a 4 with him. But I hope to be proven wrong. I really hope to be proven wrong. All right. And that does it for our lovely ratings. Dan, you want to take us home, or at least plug what we've got going on?
Yeah, so if you enjoy the podcast community here at NSF or Reality NSFW, the best way to support the podcast is become a patron, and you can do that at adfreensfw.com. You can sign up. That gets you access to the secret Facebook group. Matt and Johnny do a Q&A every week where you can literally ask them anything you'd like, and they will answer it, as well as some other bonus content. Later on this week, I believe it is Sunday night, on the Ladies Night podcast with Sarah and Lauren, they are having Lyrsa from David vs. Goliath. We can't speak at the end for some reason right now. But check that out. That is Sunday. I believe it's at 8:00, but just check the feed and that'll be coming out. As well as when the next episode comes out, always join Johnny, Matt, and Alex Trias as they do the live reaction show right after the episode on Wednesday nights. And if you're looking for Big Brother Canada coverage, Brent and Bobby do that Wednesday nights while Survivor's on. So we have lots going on. Comment, support the page, and we love you guys.
Yep. Dan and I will be back hopefully with another guest next week for the deep dive, and I believe Johnny will be covering more Australian Survivor with someone else. We'll figure out who. Sydney, it's been a pleasure having you. You have been amazing. Is there anything you've left unsaid so far and want to say before we wrap up?
No, just thanks for having me and listening and letting me be my crazy self.
Wouldn't have it any other way. You have been the first person we've had from season 41, and we're starting off with a bang. I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.
And for more Reality NSFW content, visit adfreensfw.com.